So you saw HDFC AMC shares jumped 5% after their Q3 results, right? It's quite the bounce back after a pretty rough month, actually.
Yeah, it's definitely grabbing headlines. I mean, a 5% jump is significant. It's interesting to see how quickly things can shift in the market, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it makes you wonder, should investors be jumping on this bandwagon, or is it just a temporary blip? I saw some analysts saying buy, while others are saying hold or even sell.
Well, that's the thing about the market, It's never that straightforward. You've got different analysts with varying opinions, each seeing things from their own lens. Let's unpack what's driving this rally, shall we?
Sounds good. I think first we should look at why they're doing so well this quarter. I mean, the numbers look pretty good on paper.
Exactly. They reported a 31% jump in net profit, reaching 641 crore rupees, which is a pretty massive jump from 488 crore rupees in the same quarter last year. And their revenue went up 39%, hitting 935 crore rupees. So there's definitely a lot of positive momentum.
Okay, so a significant increase in both profit and revenue. I mean, that's pretty clear cut, right? That must be why investors are so enthusiastic.
Well, that's definitely a big part of it. It signals strong performance. When a company shows such substantial growth, it's hard for the market to ignore, and it often translates into an increase in the stock price.
So numbers are good, but what about the different brokerages? I mean, you mentioned there were mixed ratings. What are the key points that are making them so divided?
Okay, so Nomura, for example, has a buy rating, and they actually raise their EPS estimates for the coming years because they expect strong operating profit growth from HDFC AMC. They're bullish on the company's future earnings potential.
That's interesting. So they are quite confident in the company's growth trajectory, which is great. But what about others who aren't as optimistic?
Right. Well, HSBC, for instance, has a hold rating. They acknowledge the strong profit growth, but they also point out that HDFC AMC's market share in equity AUM and SIP flows is kind of stagnant. That might be putting a limit on further price increases in their view.
Okay, that makes sense. So while the profit is good, their market share isn't really expanding. It's like they're performing well, but not necessarily growing their user base, right?
Precisely. It's like having a fantastic chef, but not attracting new customers to the restaurant. You're doing well with your regulars, but not expanding beyond that.
Okay, what else are these brokerages saying? Any other differing opinions on the matter?
Yeah, Morgan Stanley expects a moderation in growth even with the good numbers. They project the company's revenue and net profit growth to fall to 16% in FY26, so still positive, but at a slower rate. It's like they're expecting the pace of the marathon to slow down a bit, I guess.
That makes sense. So it's not going to be as rapid as it is now. That's kind of like a reality check there, right?
Exactly. And then you have Jeffries, who said that actually lower investment income kind of moderated earnings this quarter. And while they see industry inflows, they are keeping a close watch on scheme performance and market share.
Okay, so they're not completely convinced despite the profits and the revenue. They're looking for continued growth and consistency, right?
Yeah, they're kind of like, show me more. It's like waiting for the next act in a play to see if it's as good as the first one.
Okay, so that's four brokerages who have mostly positive or neutral takes. But wait, didn't you mention someone with a sell rating earlier?
Yes, Citi has a sell rating which is pretty contrarian. They think cost control and backbook repricing are driving the growth right now, but they're not confident about the long-term prospects, and the target price is much lower.
Okay, so Citi is definitely the odd one out here. It's like they're saying the current good performance is not sustainable and the stock isn't a good buy.
Right, they're saying enjoy the party, but don't overstay. It's a different perspective, and it's important to acknowledge it as well.
Okay, so to sum it up, HDFC AMC had a strong quarter with a significant jump in profit and revenue, leading to a stock price rally. But there are differing opinions amongst analysts about whether this is sustainable growth or not.
Exactly. Some are optimistic about the earnings growth. Others are cautious about market share and future growth rates. So the market is kind of like a mixed bag of expectations and caution.
Right. So it's like the company did well, but whether you should buy, hold, or sell kind of depends on how much risk you're willing to take and your own investment goals.
Absolutely. It's like, when you go to a buffet. There's lots to choose from, but what you pick depends on your own taste.
So, considering that, what should a regular investor like me do with this information? I mean, it's not as clear cut as I had hoped.
Well, I think it's crucial to consider all the points we discussed. Look at the financial results, the analyst ratings, and most importantly, your personal investment strategy. Are you in for the long haul or looking for a quick gain? That's like choosing a marathon or a sprint.
Okay, that makes sense. It's all about aligning my own goals and risk tolerance with all this information. It's like creating my own investment recipe, right?
Precisely. It's like baking a cake. You've got all these ingredients, the company's performance, analyst views, and your own goals, and you mix them in the right proportions to get what you want.
Right. And I guess it's important to remember that past performance doesn't guarantee future results. So this jump doesn't mean it will always go up.
Exactly. The stock market is not a predictable machine. It's more like a roller coaster. There will be ups and downs, and you need to strap in and ride it out with your seatbelt on.
Okay, so it's good to be informed, but also be cautious and not make decisions solely based on the latest news. It's like, don't get too excited or too scared by a single data point.
Yeah, it's all about being a balanced investor. Do your research, don't follow the herd, and make decisions that align with your goals and risk appetite.
Well, this has been quite insightful. I mean, I've definitely got a better understanding of HDFC AMC's situation. It's not as simple as a 5% jump.
Yeah, it's never that simple. There's always more to the story than what's on the surface. Always dig a little deeper, like a good detective.
So, for someone considering investing, would you say the key takeaway is to do their own research and not just blindly follow the hype?
Absolutely. That's the most crucial advice. Don't be like a sheep following the flock. Be an informed investor, understand your goals, and then decide.
This was great. So, next time we see a jump like this, we can analyze the story behind it. Thanks for breaking it down so clearly. I feel a bit wiser now.
No problem. That's the fun part, right? There's always something new to uncover in the market. It's like peeling an onion.
Definitely. So, what big market story should we peel next week?
That's a great question. Let's keep our eyes peeled and see what the market throws our way.